Being watched is a primal fear. That feeling when the air gets still, when you're sure someone's eyes are locked on you, but you turn around and there's no one there. These 3 people trusted that feeling, and they were right. Here are 3 disturbing, real horror stories where the watcher was very real and far too close. This story was submitted by a girl named Kiara from Pennsylvania. She lived in a small 2-story house with her mom. Her bedroom was at the end of a narrow hallway, quiet, private, and until recently, safe. Her closet had these 2 old wooden doors that would always get jammed on the track, so she had to slam them shut at night. But about 2 weeks after her 16th birthday, something changed. She'd wake up and find the doors open, just slightly. At first, she thought it was air pressure. Maybe she didn't close them all the way. But then, one night, she made sure they were shut. She even wedged a chair in front of them. And still, by morning, open. That's when she started recording. She placed her phone on her dresser, propped up with books, and let it record through the night. The next morning, she nervously opened the footage. At first, nothing, just still shadows. Then, around 2:30 a.m., the closet doors shuttered. Not opened, shuttered, like someone inside had nudged them. She paused it, heart racing. She rewound again, played it slower. There was movement, barely visible, but it was there. She took the phone to her mom. Her mom insisted it was wind or vibrations. But Kiara didn't sleep in her room that night, or the next. Eventually, they called a handyman to check the closet wall, because it was colder than the rest of the room. When he opened the wall panel behind the shelves, they found a hidden space, a crawl space. Inside were food wrappers, an old sleeping bag, and an empty juice bottle. Someone had been living in that crawl space, right behind her closet, and through a small, jagged hole in the panel, they had a direct view into her bedroom. This story comes from a man named Ray, who had just moved into a new apartment in Chicago. It was a basement unit with low rent, quiet, tucked beneath a brownstone. He liked that it only had one entrance, the front door, and one window, small and set high into the brick wall. For the first few weeks, things were fine. Then he started hearing knocking, software slow, 3 taps, always between 3 and 4 a.m. When he rushed to check, there was never anyone there. He figured it was kids messing around, or maybe pipes. But his dog started acting up, growling at the door right before the knocks happened. So Ray set up his dog cam to catch what was going on. The next night, the knocks came again, and this time, so did something else. On the footage, just for a second, the IR sensor lit up, and you could clearly see a figure outside the basement window. Not moving, just standing there. It wasn't blurry. It wasn't a trick of light. Someone was watching. He called the cops. They searched the area and found faint footprints in the alley behind the unit. But they also found something worse. Whoever it was had sliced a tiny flap in the window's screen, just large enough to peer through, and it had been cut clean, deliberately, like they wanted to watch without being seen. Ray moved out 2 weeks later. He never found out who it was. Our last story comes from Lana in Oregon. She lived near a dense forest trail and took her dog walking there every evening. It was peaceful, quiet. Until one night, she noticed someone in the woods, standing between 2 trees, not moving, not blinking, just still. She brushed it off as a hiker, but something felt wrong. The next day, he was there again, same spot, same clothes, staring. Every day that week he returned. Never came closer, never followed, just stood, watching. Her dog started refusing to walk near the tree line. It would bark and pull away. Lana eventually brought binoculars, and that's when she saw he wasn't just watching, he was taking pictures. Park rangers got involved. They swept the area near the tree line. Eventually, they found a hidden tent about 300 feet into the woods. Inside, food wrappers, old clothes, and a stack of photos. All of them of Lana, walking, sitting, laughing, from angles that meant he'd been watching for weeks. Not just on the trail, some were taken through her windows. In all 3 stories, they felt it before they saw it. That instinct, that chill, that knowledge that someone was watching, and they were. So next time you feel it, don't ignore it. Have a true horror story where someone was watching you. Email it to us. We might feature it next. Until then, stay alert, stay hidden, and stay in the shadows.